Welcome to the Dare to Be Different podcast. I am your host, Austin, and joining me as usual.
There's Carmelo, otherwise KP, and we are back for season 2,
To episode 11.
11, yeah. And we are continuing in the theme of relationships. But here today, we are going to focus on singleness. We have found a study article type thing that is called Practical Singleness. So we want to get into some thoughts, some scripture, some musings over how we can practically be single, what it means, what the purpose is in it, and I guess how we can do it best to the best of our equipping. So yeah, man, let me take us down. This is gonna be slightly different to how we usually do. We're gonna just read through what someone is saying and then share our thoughts here and there, and then there will be a few reflective questions towards the end. But yeah, we're gonna read someone's thoughts. Do you wanna start us off here, sir?
Okay. Having found myself being single again a few years back, but this time as a Christian, I quickly discovered that there were far more challenges ahead of me than I realized, mostly within myself. With not much sound spiritual advice out there concerning how to cope with certain struggles as a Christian single, or the struggles I would face when I eventually entered into a relationship, I felt the need to put this small Bible study together. I mean, we also thinking about putting together a study guide for groups out there, because it kind of feels like for singleness, not a lot out there from a Christian perspective. Relationships, yeah. Marriage, oh my gosh.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, tons of material.
Yeah.
But the before stage, not really.
People just want you to be strong, and otherwise just ask.
Survive.
Yeah, and just ask you, when are you getting married? That's the solution.
And don't have sex.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
That's all the church has for single people.
That's pretty much it.
Before reading and going through the study, please know that I don't claim to have all the answers for every eventuality within a relationship, and I'm not even claiming that you should follow the advice step by step. All right, this study is designed to help you stop and think before situations arise which may cause temptation or cause you or your partner to sin against God. As you go through these lessons, you also soon discover that the Bible is very silent on many of the topics we shall look at. But what I've tried to do is use biblical principles. Please remember the main thrust of these lessons is to help you glorify God, whether you are in a relationship or not. I pray this small effort will bless you a Christ-centered relationship.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay. Right. I think, let's just continue a bit further. But already some thoughts are starting to stir. Just, like, for instance, what was said with struggles being faced as a single, struggles faced when you enter a relationship. It's like there's challenges, there's battles, there's responsibility, there's weight, whether you're single or whether you're in a relationship, there's stuff to consider. So I think it's important for us to not consider, like, say you're in a challenging relationship, not to now consider singleness as like a saving grace for you, like obviously, like, pray and have a discernment about that should
be like an abusive one. Like,
yeah. You need to assess the relationship by itself, not so much like see singleness as a saving thing. And then on the other hand, if we're single, also not to now, in that if we're not happy being single, then it's like,
I must find someone,
and that's gonna make me good. Nah. Anyway, let's get into the introduction. It says here, some people are under the impression that being single is some sort of curse. As well-meaning people are always asking, when are you going to get into a relationship with someone?
Are they really well-meaning?
Are they really well-meaning? That's exactly what I thought. As if there was something wrong with you. And then there are others who feel they are being pressurized into a relationship. And so they settle for a relationship which compromises, or otherwise compromises their faith and their relationship with God, which within itself can be devastating. Like earlier outside of this year, it's like you were talking about We were talking about the quality of the time that you spend with someone, and the 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 thought of spending 10 years in a relationship that you shouldn't be in or don't want to be in for the sake of being in a relationship, or rather waiting 10 years to be in the right relationship.
Yeah, comment what you think you'd do. Would you rather wait 10 years and be in the right relationship, or start now and then for the next 10 years you're in a terrible relationship?
Yo, I know. I wouldn't want to be in a terrible relationship. I'm so sorry.
It
Like,
can be so taxing and emotionally straining.
I personally just I don't want to do that, and the thing is, I've been someone who reads people over time. I read myself, I reflect, and I read people. Like, I just check what's going on, man. And I tend to look beyond the top layers, I'm not obviously perfect at it, but yeah, anyway, so for me, I do know what it means quite decently, should I say, or what I require of myself to be in a relationship, and also then what I require of someone else. So what I believe, how I believe we should partner together, if I want to be with someone else. So for me, it's definitely going to be about the quality of the time, not the time itself.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, like, one awesome day is going to trump just 1,000 that are just like, like we've put in reps. Like, reps are important in general, guys, but hey, man, on like complacent or mediocre or subpar reps, where we clearly know better and can do better. Get what I'm saying?
Well, there's sort of a counter to that.
Yeah.
It's but we can't expect every day with a person to be like 100.
No. So yeah, not perfect performance, but like sound and consistent intention. You know what I mean? Like, bro. Okay, very simple example. Like, let's just say for me, a perfect day with you as my friend is you buy me ice cream. Very simple. Like, going to previous example.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible day when you don't buy me ice cream. If you meant to buy me ice cream, but it's just either you are busy or you didn't have money that day to buy ice cream. Like, now it can't be like, is this even worth it? No. It's like, I would love to buy you ice cream today, but this is just where it is today. And obviously, I'm not going to die without ice cream. You know what I mean? Type of thing. But I know that this person cares and they would love to buy me ice cream. For me, that's it. Like, the intention is there. And I know that they would if they could, type of thing. Like, that's the principle. It's not the case of, I don't want to buy you ice cream. Like, I'm always buying you. If that's a different story. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's where it's like, okay, what's actually going on? But where we know what we want to do and we are aligned on that, and when we're like, yeah, this is what we aspire to, something that we know we can consistently do, and we may have days where we're not the best at it, but that's what we want to do, type of thing.
It's like being intentional with the time you have with the person,
Exactly.
not taking it for granted.
That's pretty much.
But there is beauty in monotony as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I definitely think that's a key in relationship. But you don't have to be like, okay, we have to go karting, and then we have to go to dinner, and then we have to do the. It's like, whoa, it's also nice just to chill,
Yeah.
be together, even in silence. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of balancing in relationships. But yeah,
100.
I get what you're saying.
And you'll notice, I mean, again, it's a simple example, but technically there's monotony in my ice cream every day. But you get what I was saying. So no, 100%, I see you there. And you, 10 years waiting?
Ish, man. I think it's hard both, man. I see why people want to be in a relationship now, because then they don't have to be single, I guess. And then, like I was telling you earlier, it's nice to be liked.
Yeah.
It's nice to be with someone. But I have seen and I've heard the pitfalls of bad relationship, like how heartbreaking it can be. Especially, even if it's like a relationship where both parties were doing their utmost to make the relationship work, but it just didn't work. It's heartbreaking at the end because as humans, we we are emotional beings. We tend to put everything into a person, which is like why we talked about last week, not idolizing relationships and not putting all your hope into one person, because they might end up breaking your heart. Actually, they will probably break your heart, even if you're still in a relationship with them and putting your hope in God. Um, I understand why someone would rather not wait, but I think if you look at it from a long-term perspective, when you're with the right person at the right time, like it's just like blessing upon blessing, it's almost this something that you can't really quantify. Um, yeah, like I don't have any experience. I can't give you like a side of, oh, I've experienced both sides. So no. But I've known people that come out of really bad relationships, and they won't be like, oh, it was a good learning experience, but
Oh,
uh I don't mind doing that again. No, they'll be like, I would never, if I known back then what I know now, never ever. People have lost finances, they've lost other relationships like family members because they might have put the person before their family. They might have put personal goals aside for them, career wise even.
Mm.
So there's a lot that can go wrong when you rush into a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship.
No.
Um, I do also believe that the waiting is hard, but I mean, like in all things, like we mentioned it before, like with food, if Gordon Ramsay says it's going to take me 6 hours to make you a meal, and some random guy says I'll do it in 6 minutes, I'll wait the 6 hours for a meal from Gordon Ramsay because I know what's going to come out of it. So,
Oh,
or I expect the best from him. So, yeah.
mm. No, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Right. Let's
I
continue.
feel like I still didn't answer what I would do. Wait to go into it. Uh, yeah, probably wait. But I don't know, 10 years.
Probably.
You said 10 years. That's what's throwing me off, man. Because I'll be,
That was your question. I would lie. 10 years is hectic, but
I'll be 30 now.
I would lie. It's a lot of time, but hey, I don't know. Right.
Like if it's 1 year, sure. But 10 years.
I don't know. Let's learn musical instruments, start a band, bro.
You sound super famous. Do something for the world.
And then, yeah, just do something with our time, bro. Yeah. Uh, okay. Aside, later on, I actually want to talk to you about that because I do want to start playing the drums like next year or the year. I'm so serious, bro. I'm so serious. Uh, I'm so serious, bro. We'll talk about it. So let me remember. Anyway, so as if there was something wrong, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I read that. So they settle for a relationship with compromises, blah, blah, blah. Cool. So now we here want to help you see that being single is and can indeed be a rich blessing. Cool. And some of these lessons are from personal experience and others from friends, both Christians and non-Christians. Thanks. Okay, cool. Big heading here says, it is better not to marry. So whether we like it or not, people need to know that there are plenty of good biblical reasons not to marry. This is important to consider, guys. A few of which the Apostle Paul reminds us of in 1 Corinthians 7, verse 25 to 40. So we are now going to take a moment to read 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 25 to 40.
Okay, I'm just going to go with the NLT version this time. I know I normally go NIV, but I think for relationships, this is a good one. All right. 1 Corinthians 7, verse 25 to 40. Now, regarding your question about the young women who are not yet married, I do not have a command from the Lord for them. But the Lord in his mercy has given me wisdom that can be trusted, and I'll share it with you. Because of the present crisis, I think it's best to remain as you are. If you have a wife, do not seek to end the marriage. If you do not have a wife, do not seek to get married. But if you do get married, it is not a sin. And if a young woman gets married, it is not a sin. However, those who get married at this time will have troubles, and I'm trying to spare you those problems. But let me say this, dear brothers and sisters, the time that remains is very short. So from now on, those wives should not focus only on their marriage. Those who weep or who rejoice or who buy things should not be absorbed by their weeping or their joy or their possessions. Those who use the things of the world should not become attached to them, for this world as we know it will soon pass away. I want you to be free from the concerns of this life. An unmarried man can spend his time doing the Lord's work and thinking how to please him. But a married man has to think about his earthly responsibilities and how to please his wife. His interests are divided. In the same way, a woman who is no longer married or has never been married can be devoted to the Lord and holy in body and in spirit. But a married woman has to think about her earthly responsibilities and how to please her husband. I'm saying this for your benefit, not to place restrictions on you. I want you to do whatever will help you serve the Lord best, with as few distractions as possible. But if a man thinks that he's treating his fiancée improperly and will inevitably give in to his passion, let him marry her as he wishes. It is not a sin. But if he has decided firmly not to marry, and there's no urgency and he can control his passion, he does well not to marry. So the person who marries his fiancée does well, and the person who doesn't marry does even better. A wife is bound to her husband as long as he lives. If her husband dies, she is free to marry anyone she wishes, but only if he loves the Lord. But in my opinion, it would be better for her to stay single, and I think I'm giving you counsel from God's Spirit when I say this. Just a side note, like, not everything is like a direct command in the Bible. Like, he says, thou shalt be single. Like, even Paul says, he says, yeah, and I think I'm giving you counsel from God's Spirit. So this is why we have to grow our relation. This is why last episode was so important on building a foundation with God. You have to have that relationship with him because he is able to give you wisdom and discernment. And we know how good of a relationship Paul had with God. He was able to get all that wisdom because of his relationship with God. 100%. So yeah, not everything is very 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes gotta pray and really trust in him. And if you feel like, I've even been listening to this podcast this morning, we was talking about the discernment of God. Like, if you feel like you're not getting any visible or spiritual commands or wisdom, then go back to the basics. Go back to reading your Bible. Go back to worshiping God. Go back to prayer. Go back to seeking counsel from others. Go back to those basics, because it sort of just means your relationship with God isn't at that place yet, or God in His sovereignty hasn't granted you His wisdom yet. But what you can do in the meantime, when you don't have that, is go back to the basics. Do what you know. Do what you know. Focus on the relationship with Him, and in God's time, He will grant you wisdom and discernment. So yeah,
I like that. And on that, there's something I heard a while back. I'm sure maybe I heard or read or watched it, but it's, yeah, with regards to God's will, there is the known will of God that we already understand or otherwise have access to. That's in His Word. There's the things that we know. But we tend to almost obsess on the unknown will of God, what we continue to want Him to reveal to us. And yeah, we've got to be careful in that and not seeking control and seeking to be in a prideful way like God, but really to trust Him. Yeah, and be careful not to trust Him in seeking that, to know His unknown will. I mean, there's a verse somewhere. Actually, I want to quickly see if I can find it. That speaks of, I want to test the internet speed law. His mysteries are His glory, something like that. Let me just check. Just Googling here. Hi, man, show me the scripture. This thing, this AI summary. To them, God has chosen to make known the hope of, no, man. He speak of the mystery and hidden wisdom of God, even though. Scripture. Mysteries are His glory. There's some scripture. Let me just see if I find it. I'm going to spend like a few more seconds. I don't think I'm finding it. Closest here, the Proverbs 25 verse 2, it is the glory of God to conceal things, but the glory of things is to search things out. This verse suggests that God intentionally hides certain truths, and it is our role as believers to diligently search them out. So there are things that he hides. There's some things that are unsearchable. Like he does have unfathomable depths, that it says here in Romans 11 verse 33. Yo, if I can find that verse one day, I remember just hearing it or reading it, and it resonated with me. I was like, yo, yeah, something. I think it is Proverbs 25 verse 2. I think some things are the glory of God that he conceals, and then there are things that he reveals to us or that we seek out that are somewhat a blessing to us. Just forgive me. I'm just going to spend a few more seconds to see if I made a note about Proverbs 25 verse 2. I don't think so. It is highlighted, but no, I don't think I made a... Let's see if there's anything here. Have I saved anything? It just says I highlighted it 23 weeks ago. Yeah, anyway. Cool. I'll say pretty much what I wanted to say on it, so let's go back. But yeah, man. I like that point you are making, and we really should just get into the habit of focusing on what we know. Because there's so much to do with what we know already and what is in the Word of God that, yeah, man, we mustn't take it for granted. I'm going to expand a little bit more, then I'm going to continue. I was speaking the other day on Sunday to one of the... Well, we had like sort of a connect groups, a small groups discussion with the teens at Rema, and we were asking them, hey man, I was asking them, funny enough, I said, if God had to open the clouds and say to you, my son, I've called you to be single, shall you do so? Type thing like this. I asked him, well, are you going to do it? And then the one was like, hey, if God's opening the clouds, then hey man, he's real and everything. And like, of course, you're going to have to obey. And I was like, you say that. You say that. But look in the Bible. The Israelites, for example, when they left Egypt, they saw the parting of the Red Sea. They saw the 10 plagues before they left. They saw the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire. They saw manna. And these guys still, they wanted to worship the golden calf. They are still saying, it would have been better if we stayed in Egypt. Bro, how do you see the sea splitting? How do you see a pillar of fire and cloud? And then you're still like, nah, bro. So, but I had to stop I myself, I'm glad I reached this point. It just shows humanly, like, how frail our eyesight was. Bro, our sight, our perspectives, our memory, our conviction, our human conviction can be, bro. Like, I can be amazed by something I keep using these very simple examples. Like, think about how amazing it was for you the day you got your phone, your iPad, whatever it may be, bro. I'm just gonna use phones because phones are a classic example. And you treat it with like kid gloves, and you like, bro, like you make sure you set it down properly, and like you keep it clean. And then 3, 6, 9 months, a year down the line, you throwing it around, bro. Like, bro, we take things for granted, guys. Like, we get used to things. So I just think it's important for us to be humble and mindful of how consistently we need to remind ourselves of the goodness of God, the power of God, the faithfulness of God, and how we need to find ways for us to trust God, Even if it's the same way every day, or you switch it up a bit from week to week, month to month, we have to keep like almost resetting our trust day to day, because man, it's so weird. Like, we forget, like we've got biases, and guys, our attention spans, I'm going to call it our faith span. Man, that's a concept. Our faith span it's fickle, man. Anyway, let's continue reading. So, I don't know if you have something on.
No, okay.
Although Paul gives us a few good reasons not to marry, it's Paul's last comment which we might find interesting. And it says, and I think that I too have the Spirit of God. So that's a different translation which you read, but yeah. That's in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 40. Now, We need to understand that Paul's final statement doesn't mean he wonders whether he is indwelt by the Holy Spirit, because he already knew that. Rather, he believes he has the illumination of the Spirit on this topic, that he's got the wisdom, per se, the guidance. And I quite like that because it shows, I'm still reading, guys, just so you know, shows that Paul's humility and honesty, and shows us that even though he was an apostle of Christ, he was never arrogant about God's truth. When he had a word directly from the Lord, as in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 10, he made no qualms about sharing it and enforcing it. When he had opinions that were apostolic, right, as a messenger, as a guide per se to rise up, build up others, as in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 12 to 25, and 25, whatever it may be, he gave them with conviction. But when he wasn't sure whether his ideas conformed to that which the Spirit of God taught, he was willing to say so. So now, unfortunately, there are many in the ministry today who would never admit what Paul says here, and they aren't even close to being apostles, dang, right? Yet they always claim to be right. Yeah, guys, if you're doing that, please stop it. Like, yeah, let's not
say this is from God.
Guys, be careful of that. Like, yet they always claim to be right, always have a word from the Lord, and are usually dogmatic about it. Like, this is the way it should go. They may be wrong, but they're never in doubt, because beware of teachers who claim to have a direct pipeline to God. Yeah, guys, you need to pray for spiritual discernment. Not to say don't listen to people, man. Take what they have, but at the end of the day, take it to God and be like, hey, man.
Yeah.
So now, anyway, you need to know that being single has numerous advantages: the potential ability to cope with troubles, maintain spiritual priorities, and remain undistracted and utterly devoted to Christ. Single-minded singleness has its advantages. Okay, next section. Do you want to start us off and read us there?
Yeah. Okay, Paul reminds us that it's better not to marry for the following reasons. Okay. What? Okay.
Reason number one is...
Oh, yeah, reason. Then to marry a non-believer. It's better not to marry for the following reasons, okay? Then to marry a non-believer, then to marry someone who will hinder your relationship with Christ or your service for him, then to marry someone without the commitment to give completely of yourself to that person, then to marry for the wrong motive, then to marry at all if you have the gift of celibacy. The gift of celibacy. I've never heard that. Yeah, okay.
I think like Paul had it, Jesus had it. I think even John.
Okay.
There's a few people. I mean, besides John, like the author of some of the Bible books, John the Baptist.
Okay.
I think there's some people that, anyway.
Have you met someone with the gift of celibacy?
I know people who aren't married or don't seem to be on their way to getting married. Yeah. People older, or what I'll say is older than my parents, that aren't getting old. Yeah.
Do you have the gift of celibacy?
As far as I know, no. But I do, for me, it goes as far as I want to be able to say yes if God opens a clause and I say, okay, that he doesn't have to open child. But you know what I'm saying? Like if I can permanently or strongly feel that God has blessed me to be single, I'm in a place where I want to say yes to that, but I very strongly feel that he's blessed me to be a husband, a father. But we'll see. As the Lord wills, as the Lord wills. For me, that's the thing, is as the Lord wills. So that's where
in our longing to belong to someone, do we forget to focus enough on the one to whom we must ultimately belong to? God must be our number one priority, and sometimes he gives us the gift of being single. I don't know about you, but when I was single, I had so much going on in my life and so little time. We need to remember that being in a relationship takes up a lot of time in our lives, time which is needed to develop, build, and maintain that relationship. So one blessing we have being single is simply the gift of time. Cool.
And like, just in a few words, like I think I've said that to you before. Not to say like I didn't mention it as a blessing, but I did mention one difference I do notice is time.
Oh yeah, no,
Just objectively.
yeah.
Objectively.
Anyone can tell you, Christian or non-Christian, being in a relationship, yeah, it's a lot of time. Okay, the blessings of being single. Being single can also have its advantages if you use the time of God has allotted you for his glory. The Apostle Paul has some countercultural words for us. He will suggest that single-minded singleness has its advantages. In 1 Corinthians 7, verse 25 to 40, Paul shows several of these advantages. While many of these advantages can be universally true, we must be careful to understand what Paul is saying in the context of his letter to the Corinthians. Okay, so the first advantage, singles are better able to cope with troubles. So back to the verse. Now concerning what you wrote about unmarried people, I do not have a command from the Lord, but I give my opinion as one who, by the Lord's mercy, is worthy of trust. Paul suggests that being single isn't nearly as bad as something. Rather, in the midst of a difficult period of time, Paul recommends that engaged couples consider remaining single.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, let's unpack that a bit. Like, if you are in a relationship and you maybe even in an engagement and things are like hectic, you're not agreeing on anything, fights are occurring, you don't have to force yourself to marry the person because you've spent X amount of time with them.
Yes.
And you feel now like, okay, I'm obligated to go through with this.
Sunk cost fallacy, they call it. It's like we've come this far, so
Might as well go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, we already paid for the venue.
get the deposit back, saying
Get the deposit back. So
a birthday party. But I think also, for instance, just as a side, sort of like he'll mention, or the translation, whatever it may say fiance or engaged people. I think that's because back then there wasn't like
there wasn't dating.
Yeah, it's bro, the families knew each other and they said, there you go. And that was that. But Paul is now, that's why I think, because there's not like lawful doctrine on it per se, there's just some guidance he can offer on having a Christ-centered relationship and a fulfilling and purposeful relationship, or otherwise just whether it's with someone, without someone, serving God. Yeah. Anyway,
cool. Yeah, so Paul unpacks his topic in the sentence. Now concerning what you wrote, okay, we already read that. The phrase now concerning harkens back to 1 Corinthians 7 verse 1, where Paul begins answering the Corinthians question. Let's just read.
Let's go check it out, because they have been referencing it a bit.
1 Corinthians 7 verse 1. It says, now regarding the questions you asked in your letter, yes, it is good to abstain from sexual relations, but because there's so much sexual immorality, each man should have his own wife and each woman should have her own husband. And then
Okay.
Paul talks about what a husband needs to do and what a wife needs to do.
Yeah. 1 Corinthians 7 is some proper game on marriage. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. In the section he's focusing on those who are engaged to be married, Paul makes it clear that he's giving an opinion on the matter of singleness. He even brackets off his remarks by reminding his readers again in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 40 that he's expressing his opinion. This should caution us not to mandate what Paul has graciously and humbly suggested. All right, now we go to chapter 7 verse 26 to 28. Paul now launches into his first advantage of singleness. And we'll read again. Considering the present distress, I think it's better for a man to stay as he is. Do you have a wife? Then don't try to get rid of her. Are you unmarried? Then don't look for a wife. But if you do marry, you haven't committed the sin. And if an unmarried woman marries, she hasn't committed the sin. But I'd rather spare you everyday troubles than married people have. It seems clear that Paul is not providing advice to be used in all situations, but one that was applicable during the particular period of time. In these 3 verses, Paul recommends singleness in light of challenging circumstances in Corinth. Okay, in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 26, he speaks of the present distress, while in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 28, he refers to the trouble in this life. Most likely the phrase, the present distress, is a reference to a famine in Corinth, and much of the rest of the Roman world was suffering from famines. This is corroborated by secular history and the fact that in 1 Corinthians 16 verse 1 to 4, Paul was taking up the famine relief collection for Jerusalem. These were challenging days, particularly for married couples. But you might ask, how does this apply to me? I'm not in the midst of a famine. I can appreciate this. However, there are many other situations that might qualify as a present in distress. Okay. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting too. For me, like a big thing, and I think we'll continue to see how this goes. Oh, I think he's about to launch into the budget stuff that I might even talk about. So I'll continue just now, actually. I'll take over. Because, yeah, when it comes to distress, especially, I guess, when the church was new, for people finding their feet in how to serve God and how to live for God and being persecuted, and then now there's famine. I think with all that together, now, I don't know, guys, where do you have the time for sexual frustration and sex drive and seeking with all that going on, bro? Like you thinking about bums during that time, bro? Like what's going on, guys? But so I think in general he's spitting facts about the weight of being in a relationship. Like you've got all this stuff to deal with. So marriage in and of itself is also something that you are representing Christ and the church to the world, or is representing God to the world when you're doing that. As a man, you lay down your life. As a woman, it's the submission element, and you're both to serve you. Well, you both submit to each other, you know what I mean? So there's a meaning to the headship, more specifically on the woman's side. But yeah, there's that dying to self, bro, like coming together, that's alignment that's just not easy for human beings in general, bro. So I think he was just saying, hey man, like think about it. It is just objectively generally easier to pursue God by yourself, especially in tough times. But it's also good if you find someone and you have someone and if you're already engaged and stuff like that, then okay, cool, man. And you're like strongly enough, how can I say, committed, there you go, committed to wanting to follow through, then yeah, it's not wrong. But it won't be easy. Seems like that's what he's saying. I think that's pretty much it. Yep. Oh, okay. I want to continue. Temptation, stress, financial difficulty, busyness, materialism, and even peer pressure to marry or not to marry are all modern stresses that could render Paul's opinions here every bit as practical today as when they were first offered. Now, let's understand that Paul isn't against marriage. Far from it. He is pro-marriage. However, he recognizes that marriage isn't for the faint of heart. Okay, basically what I was saying. Nevertheless, single-minded singleness has its advantages. One lot of temptations and stresses, etc., a lot easier to manage than two. Yeah. Well, two hearts, two minds. Yeah, it's quite something. It's pretty much what I was saying. The second crisis is described in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 28 by the phrase trouble in this life. These troubles aren't specified but may refer to Paul's conviction that Christians are called to suffer and will likely have more trials than others. Interesting. The word trouble or tribulation means pressed together under pressure, which is an interesting description of the marriage relationship. You have two people who are pressed together in the closest possible way, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. They are two very distinct individuals with different personalities, different temperaments, different wills, different histories, and different struggles and difficulties that they have brought as baggage into the relationship. And even believers in Jesus Christ are still subject to the limitations and weaknesses of the flesh, Asia. So you have two angry, selfish, dishonest, proud, forgetful, thoughtless people. And that's true even in the best marriages. Yeah, you are human, guys. Yeah. We are not thoughtless. It's hard enough for a sinner to live alone with himself, let alone with another sinner. You put those two separate constellations of problems together when two people are bound together in marriage. And the problems of sinful human nature are multiplied. Not added, multiplied. Multiplicado. I don't even know if that's a word. Anyway. Again, Paul makes it clear that marriage is a legitimate option for single people, but he wants to spare us unnecessary grief. Hence, it's good to thoughtfully consider the option of singleness and think of it as a blessing. You don't have to deal with your partner's troubles as well as your own. So this is, reading all this, it made, like, for some people, they may think, yeah, no, better to stay single. And that actually tends, that there's people that are actually not almost, that are like scared of marrying. There's people that say, from what I've seen, from the examples I've seen, marriage is not for me. They've just decided. But the thing, okay, here, unfortunately, and this is for the people less convicted to live righteously, let me say, they still want to be in relationships. They still want to have sex. They still maybe even want to live with people, but they don't want to get married.
Yeah. They want the commitment.
Yeah. They don't want the covenants, but they want the highs. They want the pleasures, the indulgence. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Like, they recognize what it takes on some level to be in a relationship, to have to sacrifice, to have to fight together, to fight as a team, to lay down, to be humble, and yeah, I think that just seems scary to many of us.
I do think majority of people listening, or just majority of people in the world, do seek marriage. Not marriage, but like relationship. Yeah. Like it's mentioned, like there's a gift of celibacy and singleness. It's something God will call you to. Like, you will literally have no desire to be married. Like, it will, like the same way I like, I don't know, let's say strawberry over chocolate. You would be like that. I prefer singleness over marriage. It's a desire. It's how God created.
Bro, example, like you and I, we might consider ourselves having the gift of sobriety in terms of like alcohol.
Yeah.
As an example. I don't know if that's like a gift, but no, I think no. Let's say that's a gift because there's no blessing of drunkenness. So yeah. It's a gift available for everyone, per se.
No, but like we have no desire. Like,
Yes.
if someone puts like the most expensive whiskey in the world in front of me, I'm not like losing my mind. You know what I mean?
I don't care. I'll wonder, why is it expensive? What's the history?
What's like downing it?
Yeah, no. Like, I'll taste it and I'll probably be like, I'll be like, okay. But that's it. It's like,
With zero desire.
So I think that's maybe how we can think of it, as that's what it might look like. Like, we like just non-percentage based drinks and food and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, because what I'm trying to ultimately say, like, one of God's first commandments is be fruitful and multiply. So that's going to happen whether we like it or not. Yeah. So, but what Paul is trying to say here, like, there are troubles in marriage, and it's something that you mustn't just rush into.
Yeah.
There is a easier way for God to be devoted to God, in a less troublesome way. But I do personally believe, like, at least 80% of people, they do have a desire to be in a relationship and to fulfill that first commandment. So yeah.
But I just want to share a thought before we consider today's question. There is, I think one thing there is to check how we approach relationships in general, with family, with friends, with colleagues, with everyone around us. I think we really need to check there. I think you can truly, truly, truly find out if you've got a gift of celibacy if you work towards the current relationships in your life. If the current relationships in our lives are trash, then I mean, it's just going to multiply into whatever it is. Not to say that it's it's irredeemable, if you do get married and the rest of your relationships are trash, but I think it's just going to be tougher if that's the case. If you can't be stable and secure in your friendships, stable and secure in your family relationships, especially with your parents. I mean, there's a command to honor your parents, stable and secure with colleagues, at work. If you just hopping from job to job and everywhere, everyone else is the problem. It's not you. Guys, come on. Like let's reflect. Let's do something, man. And I think that's a good. That feels like a Holy Spirit bar right there, bro. Like we really actually need to take a look at the rest of our relationships.
Yes, how are we treating them? Yeah.
And seeing how we are there. And for instance, if you feel like that's not good enough, then the question is why? What the heck is going on? Because you should be good enough, and then anything more is just better. It's blessing type thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's something to do, guys. That's something I want to do, and just make sure that all the rest of my relationships, I'm happy with the way they're going. And I know on my side, I think just on a bit more intentionality or consistency, or I don't know. How can I say it? Just like I think in general, when I interact with people, with my friends, my family, that it's good, but it's a bit sporadic for my liking, Like it just happens as it happens type of thing. I mean, with you, you're one of my more, if not most intentional relationships that I have. In doing stuff like this as an example, hanging out from time to time, or I don't know, this is the most intentional thing you and I do actually, but
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's being intentional like that. And I mean, when I talk to people, it's intentional, and we talk about what's going on and how things are going. And I'm glad for that, but I don't know, just sort of the consistency with that. I think that's something I do want to work on, Yeah, this is a personal reflection. All right, some reflection or evaluation questions. First one, he says, what do you like about being single?
Yeah. I would lie. The financial freedom is amazing. Don't have anyone be like, why did you buy this PlayStation? This could have been used for me or for us. I like the time, like definitely not being constricted and like, oh, there's an event happening this weekend. Let me check in with my person. I can just be like, yeah, I'm coming because I want to do it. Definitely there's things I don't like, but yeah, those two things, financial freedom and just the time part is amazing. Yeah. What about you?
Fair enough. I think I'm probably gonna agree with you. Yeah, I think mainly gonna come down to time on my side and what I choose to do with my time, and otherwise, just no conflict regarding. Oh yeah, wow, only so much conflict per se, or regarding my values. Like how I make choices.
Yeah.
It's that much easier because I'm making them just me. And I can experiment a bit more. I can, take risks here and there, or yeah. But besides that, just the way I make decisions, I can just, yeah, I can proper just affirm or reconstruct, or otherwise just build up my values and principles and convictions, and constructively challenge myself, where I want to. And I don't know, it's, for me, I just personally, I value that. I value that, man. I value agreement, man. I value progression. I value progressiveness. I don't know how like really how to fully put this into words. I don't know if you're really getting what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do value that I just value agreement, man. I just value, yeah. I don't know what other words to use for now, but I hope it's making sense. Um, Besides, otherwise, for instance, the frustration or the challenge of seeing eye to eye with someone or agreeing on how to do something or to make this, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Type of thing. So, uh, yeah. Okay. Question 2. Why would it be beneficial to you to remain single? Oh,
Yeah, I can answer that. Obviously, I've been thinking about this lately.
yeah.
I think, like Jesus mentions, that that he prunes, like those who are not connected to him, to the vine, he will prune, right? So there's a lot of things that in the single season.
Well, just quickly,
Yeah.
he removes or throws into the fire those who are not connected, those who are keep prunes.
So yeah, right, yeah. Those who are connected, he prunes, yeah, and those are not connected, yes, you're right. So yeah, it is in the season. This is how God can prune those things of you. You are allowing Him time and devotion so that He can remove things in your life that's not needed. Whether it's like lust, for me personally,
Same.
it could be anger, greed, any sin or any thorn that's in your life. Yeah, this is where, you, by devoting yourself to Jesus, this is where um he can prune these things in you. And I think that's such a powerful thing, because I don't I don't believe you can ever be ready for a relationship. There's not like, okay, Austin, here's 27 steps. And once you complete all 27 steps, you will be ready for a relationship with this person. No, I don't believe that. I do believe that God can use this single season to help you prepare for a relationship, as much as you can. Like, I'm sure you can be 80% ready for a relationship rather than 10% ready. I don't think you could ever be 100% ready, because people are people. And you can never fully expect everything in a relationship. Yeah, so the one thing that I would say is beneficial is just allowing God to like just prune things in your life that is not wanted or needed, and that's hindering you from being the best version of yourself that you can be. Because I right now can enter a relationship being this current version of me, a lustful person or a selfish person or a prideful person. Or I can wait, devote myself to God and allow Him. Because those things, when it comes to like sin and like stuff like that, it's very deep rooted. It's not something that gets solved overnight or something that can be removed by the snap of your fingers. It's something that Jesus has to work through you, with you, daily. And it requires a lot of devotion to Him, a lot of prayer. Um, yeah. And then, like we mentioned before, because you're single, you have the time to do all of that. You allow yourself to do that. So when you rush into a relationship, now your interests are split into devotion with God and then devotion to this person. And if you end up having children, it's split again. Devotion to your kids, to your person, to God. And then you never ever gave Him time to prune those things. So now you're taking lust into a marriage. And now we're wondering why the divorce rate is 55% now? I think it is. Because we didn't allow God to, prune these things before we got into it. So again, you can't 100% be ready for a relationship. but I'm sure you can be 80%. I'm sure you can allow God to remove um, the unwanted things in your life. I know, like Paul mentioned, there's a thorn in that he experienced, like a thorn in his side, but I don't think that has to do with like relationships or stuff like that. I just,
Yeah.
I think again, just to reiterate, we went on a whole tangent.
Yeah.
Um, in the single season, you allow God to prune a lot of hurtful things that you're doing to yourself and potential hurtful things that you could do to your partner out of your life. So let God prune, man. Let God prune. What about you? So why would it be beneficial?
I think same as you, man. For me, I want to be the best I can be for God and the best I can be for the person He might bless me with according to His word. God, peace. But according to may I be a blessing, of course. But yeah, I really want to be at a good place. Like I just think, okay, I try not to shame myself, but for instance, like, hey man, I haven't taken out the weeds around the yard in a while, man. Just as an example, right? And I don't know, I just don't want to be that. I don't want that to be who I am. Like, not to say that's the roadblock to me getting into a marriage, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But like, I just want to be a good person, a consistent person, right? Rather it be, for instance, that I was just busy and doing stuff. Bro, there's times I'm just chilling at the house, bro, and those views are still just out there for like. So I just want to be a bit more consistent and stuff like that. As an example, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like even if there's just one thing I consistently do each weekend, like the one weekend is gonna be the laundry, the other weekend is gonna be the garden, the other weekend is gonna be I don't know, whatever else it can be, just general housekeeping or I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like I want to have at least that intentional consistency. That's just a very, very practical, grounded example for me. And otherwise, like you're saying, some of our principles or some of our struggles or challenges, the sinful habits that we want to break or just leave in the dirt, you know? So yeah, same. It's pretty much the same for me. And okay, well, I also think it's generally, you know, God works. God does have His plans and His will and His ways, but otherwise, generally, for me, it just feels easier. Let me just say this. It feels easier to think about how to be financially uh, fruitful right now. I say that as much as I've got these ideas that I don't execute on. So, more. But anyway, uh, but I do recognize that not sometimes, God tends to also just multiply and place fruitfulness in marriage and relationships. So, but there's just the feeling of I can do more, and there's of course this bias or this perspective we have that if I can do more, I can earn more. Right? You get what I'm saying? So, I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Third question: would it be beneficial to you to enter a relationship? Ooh, that's a yes, no. But of course, we're gonna explain why for Marks.
Uh, okay. Sure. I'll definitely say yes. It would be beneficial. I don't know if it's beneficial to me right now or more. But I definitely see the ups to relationships. I see the downs to it, but let's talk about the benefits. Yeah, basically it's God giving me the opportunity to love someone, to show the fruits of the spirit to a person, to that person, to grow in your, I guess, in your spirituality with another person, to see another dimension of God. Like I do believe you'll actually see another like perspective to God's love and to God Himself, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Um yeah, and again you get to just to put into practice what you've been preparing for your whole life. You know what I mean? So that's great. Like this, just to love someone. I mean, like that's not that you can't love someone, but love someone wholeheartedly and give fully of yourself to another person. I think that's beautiful. So yeah, and I can then also stop burning with lust. No more burning. What does Paul saying? Being passionate.
Yeah, I burn with passion.
Burn with passion. Yeah.
Yeah. Depends on translation.
So yeah, and then it gives you the opportunity to be fruitful and multiply, man. Like that in itself is an amazing blessing to be a father to children. That's I don't know what more to say about that, but yeah, those are some of the benefits. I'm probably missing a few.
No, because it's top of mind and heart order for you, and fair enough. Yeah, man. From my side, for me, I think I'd say it would be beneficial in terms of what it does for my heart. You know, from me and from my experience of a relationship is definitely teaches me how to love, how to be patient, how to be kind, how to show up consistently for someone, how to die to self. And these are all, like, it helps me to be humble. And these are all things really that it cultivates the fruit of the spirit in me. And it helps me to really just tangibly see how to live for God and to not be selfish. And so I think for me, that's a large benefit. Of course, then there's a benefit of just, being with an awesome person, and experiencing awesome things and respectfully experiencing sex. And also, like you're saying, fruitfulness, building with someone, representing God to the world, uh, impacting people's lives, being generous, God's will, having children. It's just great to walk in purpose with someone. Like, I think that feeling is just an amazing feeling.
Yeah, walking in purpose with someone. Yeah.
I think
What the Proverbs is, two are better than one.
yeah.
And three are better than two.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the third person will obviously God.
Yeah.
But I like the purpose point you're making. Like your partner should be able to help you with your purpose and then vice versa.
Yeah.
You should be able to help her with her purpose in life.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's it. Okay. And then final question, I'm just going to rephrase it a bit, is would it be beneficial for someone to enter a relationship with you?
Again, right now, maybe not.
Okay.
But again, like I mentioned before, I don't think you can 100% be ready. But you can work towards that 80% or whatever. Yeah, and this is why we've got to do this whole allowing God to prune our lives because, this is how we get prepared, or this is how God prepares us for that person. Um, like I sometimes believe like God hasn't made me meet my person because he's sort of like saving them from me situation. Like there's things he needs to work with in me. And it may be the other way around. Who knows? Maybe God is working something in them here first. Then only will we meet or something like that. But yeah. I'm just gonna say maybe not right now, but hey, if it's God's will, it's God's will.
Hmm.
I don't think there's like a definite answer for that question.
Well, it depends how you feel. Depends how you feel.
Or how do you feel? Is that person ready to
Well, just for you, I think, just quickly, viable to me, they'd be coming into a nice family. Um, uh, yeah, and this is a cool apartment. I mean, if they like what you like, it's gonna got a cool relationship in it, man. Games, books, board games, uh, yeah, and then going to stuff like book clubs, like, would be nice to just expand their community of people like that to alliance, yeah.
thanks, man, appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, I just thought that, just from my perspective, yeah. For me, yeah, no, man. I wouldn't want someone to stay with me where I'm at now.
It's not beneficial to
It is not beneficial unless that's a journey they want to go on. But no. If you want to learn how to endure, come stay with me where I am right now. I'm thinking of that video you sent me when it was freezing inside your apartment. Yes, sir. I breathe and you can see it. But when I exhale, you can see my breath. That's how cold it is there. Yeah, no. Guys, I wear layers inside the house. I wear 2 socks. I wear uh like I tuck in my bottom layer, then I wear 2 jackets. Like, yo, guys, sometimes I wear 3 jackets on a really cold day. Like, yeah, no, guys, it's the Arctic there, boy. It's not easy, guys. It's not easy. Shame, one thing that's breaks my heart a little bit. My 2 house plants that I've got, the one is a ficus ginseng. Apparently, those are very, very environmentally sensitive. I didn't know that. And I think it just got a shock when I got to where I'm at. So now the trunk is still there, but I think it's gone. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. And then, guys, this one breaks my heart. My peace lily that I've had since 2017, I think it's gone as well, guys. I think it's gone as well. I've been watering it. I've got it new soil, but I think it's just like, nah, Phil. And that breaks my heart. I've had it since 2017, bro. But Anyway. Okay, besides that. So, I think for me, I definitely can see what benefits there may be in terms of someone. Currently, I'm quite grounded in the church community where I'm at, and like I quite like my group of friends like you, bro, and like I'm someone who's quite intentional or ambitious in terms of their work and stuff. So I think in terms of that, like in terms of trying to go somewhere and do things, I think that is a beneficial element to that, of being with someone like that. But then there's also elements of myself in terms of trust, I guess, trusting people. There's elements in terms of me. There are critical elements to my mind and I guess to my heart where God keeps working on that, and I keep reflecting on how I can be just soft in that and I don't know, not be hypercritical and stuff like that, or hypercritical otherwise, it's kind of sounded like a poor but anyway. And to trust, to be patient. Patience, I think I've definitely come quite a long way with that patience, but it's still there. It's still there. There's still some discrepancies here and there, I guess, but all of us, none of us are perfect. You know what I mean? It's nothing hectic, nothing blaring, nothing maniacal or whatever, But yeah. So stuff like that is obviously, there's stuff regarding me to deal with. There's, I guess, also sort of a somewhat a hyper independence with me to an extent. Like, again, not like a cold shoulder, push people away type thing, but there is a bit of a slight bit of an I don't need that need anyone type thing that I've been trying to work my way out of, and being able to ask for help and work with people. And I do believe I'm making progress with that, but it's still there nonetheless. And that can still be challenging for someone to deal with or come into. Yeah, I think that's a few things I can think of for myself. So benefits and challenges to being with me. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. I think that is going to be us for today. And guys, yeah, I'm glad we did 1 Corinthians 7. For me, this is like, there's some people that might even listen to this and I've mentioned this scripture to you. 1 Corinthians 7 is bars, man. Bars upon bars for singleness and marriage. And I like it a lot, man. But yeah, pretty cool. We had some good conversations today, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, bro. And I look forward to the next one. I think next time we will get into relationship/marriage. We might tap it off. We'll see.
I think we should do one on dating, because there's not a lot in the Bible about dating, but there is a lot in the Bible about people. Yes.
Okay. No, we'll look into that. 100%. But yeah, I think that's been us for today. Thank you, bro. Thank you, anyone that may be listening. I hope it has blessed you. That's blessed me, reinforced me, sharpened me.
directed me a bit. So, yeah. Thank you guys for listening. See you in the next one. Peace.
Peace, we love you.